Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss an interesting topic called language and thought. An important topic from Ignou MEG 4 aspects of language. Now, can we think without language, or does language shape the way we think? These questions have puzzled philosophers and linguists for centuries. In this video, we will understand the different views in a very simple way. Let's begin with the introduction. Now, there are two major views about the relationship between language and thought. The first is the cognitive view, which says language comes first and shapes our thinking. The second is the communicative view, which says that thought comes first and language is simply a tool to express it. Many modern linguists believe that both views contain some truth. Language certainly influences our thinking, but we are also capable of thinking without words. The famous European structuralist Ferdinand de Saussure also gave the relationship between the sound and the mental concept. He tells us that words and concepts together form a linguistic sign. People in a language community use the same words for the same concepts. This makes communication possible, and we also know that the relationship between the word and its meaning is arbitrary, as we discussed in European structuralism. So different languages use different signs. Now linguists began asking an interesting question. Can these differences in language influence the way people think? This is exactly what Edward Sapir and Benjamin Lee Whorf tried to answer through the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. The relationship between language and thought was explored by the famous anthropological linguist Edward Sapir and his student Benjamin Lee Whorf. Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, named after them, has two aspects, that is linguistic determinism and linguistic relativity. Linguistic determinism explains how language influences thought. Their main view was that the language we speak affects how we see the world. This means language completely controls thoughts. People can think only through their language. If your language has no word for that concept or a concept, it becomes difficult to think about it. This is linguistic determinism, which is a stronger version, wherein language completely controls thought. Next is linguistic relativity, which is a weaker version. This is more accepted idea. It says language influences thought, but it does not completely control it. Whorf explained this theory using an interesting example of fire drum, where there were two drums. One is full and one is labeled as empty. The workers saw drums marked empty. They thought they were safe, so they started smoking nearby. However, the drums still contained petrol vapor, which caught fire. Here the word empty influenced their thinking and behavior. So language can influence our behavior and perception. Whorf also studied the Hopi language. He observed that English divides time into past, present and future. But Hopi language expresses time differently, focusing more on processes and continuous events. According to Whorf, different languages organize reality differently and they think according to their language. Now, many linguists did not fully agree with Sapir and Whorf. They believe that thought can exist without language. According to Steven Pinker, thinking is not the same as language. Language only helps us communicate our thoughts, but thinking itself can happen without words. He gave an important example, that is, for many examples he gave. That is, for example, when you shift to a new house, you arrange furniture. You decide where the sofa will go, where the TV will be placed, many things. You imagine where everything will fit. You are thinking, imagining, even without speaking. Another example is of translation, which he gave. If thoughts depended completely on language, translation would be impossible. But people successfully translate between languages. This suggests that thoughts exist independently of words. Now, he also talked about bilingual people. A person who knows Hindi and English has one idea but two different words. Example, tree and paid. The thought is the same, only words change. So here is the main example, that is poetry. He gave the example of poetry where poets often create new words and expressions. This shows creative thought exists before language. And even scientists often thought using images, diagrams, imaginations instead of words. If you take an everyday example, sometimes we say, I know what I want to say, but I can't find the words. This proves that language and thought are not exactly the same. So in conclusion, language and thought are closely interconnected. Language helps us express, organize, and sometimes influence our thoughts. However, thought is not completely dependent on language. Humans can also think through images, imaginations, emotions, and experiences. Therefore, the modern view is that language influences thought, but it does not completely determine it. So hope you understood this explanation. If you found this explanation helpful, please like, share and subscribe to the channel for more Ignou related linguistic and literature topics. Thank you.